Hey, Steve Stine from guitarzoom.com here, and today we're going to be looking at 3 guitar licks I think are important for you to learn, and they're fairly easy to play. Now, the reason I've constructed these licks and I want to show them to you is they really provide you with 2 different things. Number 1, essential techniques that you're going to be using when you start learning how to solo all over the fretboard, depending on what style of music you want to play. And number 2, some really important color notes that you want to learn how to utilize as well. So here's lick number 1. Okay, with that lick, the first thing we do is we start off with this slide into the 7th fret of the 4th string. Now, I'm going to be playing in a scale called A minor pentatonic. All 3 of these licks are going to take place in there. So as I'm playing this lick, I'm sliding in. That's a really important technique for you to learn how to do, is to slide into a note. And once I get there, I'm going to play 5 and 7 on the next string. And here's the big technique here, is I'm going to bend this string up, what we call a whole stepper, 2 frets in pitch. And then I'm going to bring it back down and play those notes. And I do that twice. Now we encounter another technique. On this note right here, what I'm going to do is give it just a little bit of a bend. I'm going to pull that towards the floor just a little bit right before I leave. And then I'm going to go back to the 7, which is an A. It's the root, because I'm in the key of A minor pentatonic. So I'm going to the A right here. And that little bend that I'm doing right there is called a blues bend. Now, you could change up the rhythm to do anything you want. You don't have to play it exactly like that, but think about the techniques that you're using with the sliding and the bending and then that little blues bend. And then at the end, when I play that 7, I'm adding a technique called vibrato, where you lightly shake the string, and then oftentimes I might actually slide off of that at the end to end the phrase. And that would be lick number 1. Okay, lick number 2, what we're going to do is use some new techniques. I'm going to play it for you first here. Let me play it again. So what's happening there is I'm going to the 8th and the 5th string, or frets, excuse me, on the 2nd string. I'm going to do what's called a pull-off. I'm going to play the first note and flick this pinky like this to get a sound of the 5th fret of the 2nd string. And then I'm going to go to the 7th fret of the 3rd string, go back to the 5 of the 2nd string. So I'm making a little connection there. I'm switching to the 3rd string, going back to the 2nd string. And then I'm going to do a pull off from 7 to 5 on the 3rd string and go down to my root, which is the A. And then I'm going to end by crossing over. I'm on the 7 of the 4th string. I'm going to cross over to the 7 of the 3rd string and repeat those 3 notes. Only this time I'm picking them. So I have... And that kind of lick, you know, you might go to the 1st string or the 4th string. You see, you could do it anywhere you want. That's kind of the nice thing about some of these licks, is that you can convert them and move them wherever you want as well. So that's lick number 2, utilizing some pull-offs. Okay? Lick number 3 is going to look like this. So now what I'm doing is I'm adding in a brand new note right here, the 6th fret of the 5th string. This is what we call a blue note, or a blues note. Normally in pentatonic we'd play 5, 8, 5, 7. Well, I'm playing the 6 in the middle. And that blues note's a great note to add in. You wouldn't want to necessarily land on it and spend time on it, but when you play it in conjunction with other notes, it sounds really good. Let me play it again. So what I'm doing there is a hammer-on now. I'm going from 6 to 7. So I'm picking the 6 and then smacking this 3rd finger down to the 7. And then I'm going up here to the 5th fret of the 4th string. And then I'm going to go backwards. I'm going to go back to that 6, but this time I'm going to do a pull-off from 6 to 5. So I have, and then I go to the 8-5 of the 6th string. And then I jump over and do a string skip from this 5 to the 7th fret of the 4th string, which again is the root A. So I have... So the great thing is when you're learning licks, you can use the lick and you can convert it however you want. You can transform it into something that works better with the tempo you're playing over or the groove or whatever it might be. Certainly you could play it in a different key by moving it around. But the second thing is being aware of the various techniques that are involved, or any sort of golden nuggets, if you will, of things that might happen inside there that make it sound really interesting, like that blues note, for instance. When you become aware of that, you realize that you don't have to play it all the time, but it is something that's available to you that you can use anytime when you're soloing.